Thanks for staying tuned. I'm Stanford Horror with the Thursday, December 5th edition of the HGP Sportscast. After a lengthy tussle regarding financial sponsorship, the Guyana boxing team are finally off to defend their title in the Twin Island Republic. However, the contingent which will be representing Guyana is a numerical watered-down version of the original group. Hear more in this report. After what seemed like a never-ending battle between the National Sports Commission and the GBA authorities on monies needed for the local boxers to travel to the Caribbean Boxing Championship, the issue has finally been resolved. The local contingent left on Wednesday to defend their title in the Twin Island Republic. According to President of GBA, Stephen Ninval, some $5 million Guyana dollars was needed to finance the expense of the original squad. The GBA had named a team of 21 boxers and 4 officials, but a lack of funding forced them to trim the squad to 13, led by renowned coach Terence Poole and Serbert Blake. Support came from the National Sports Commission firstly with 500,000 Guyana dollars, then on Tuesday with a check for an additional $500,000. Team comprised currently Caribbean elite champions in the middleweight, Desmond Amsterdam, and bantamweight, Kevin Alicock. The Jackman sisters, Mark Crawford, Richard Howard, Abiola Jackman, Emanuela Pompey, Colin Lewis, Julius Kesney, Kevin McKenzie, Dennis Thomas, Darren France, and Kevin Hunt. Some 21 nations are set to battle at the championships, including powerhouse Cuba, who have produced several world and Olympic champions. This would be the first time that Cuba, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic are expecting to send boxers to the event, and they're expecting to make an impact. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. In boxing, following their dominance at the 2017 Caribbean Basketball Championship, the Brush family from the mining town of Linden rewarded the national basketball players and coaches with game shirts for winning the last championship days before the hosts Grenada here for 3 international friendlies. Former President of Gabon, Nigel Hines, on behalf of the family on Wednesday evening, made a presentation to the players participating in the upcoming Invitational. Guyana will play Grenada starting this Friday in 3 friendlies. Now switching gears to football. Much collaboration has made possible the GFF Super 16 action at BARTICA for the first time, happening on December 21st. The details in this Jaden Samuels report.
Key stakeholders in BARTICA are all in with the Guyana Football Federation as the train has already been set in motion for the grand return of competitive football to the community later this month. The stage is set for a terrific time when the GFF Super 16 Cup touches down for what is anticipated to be an exciting head-to-head battle between the top teams in the community, Rivers View Football Club, GFF Elite League team, and Western Tigers on Saturday, December 21 at the BARTICA Community Center ground. Local football boss Wayne Ford led a team which met with Regional Chairman Gordon Bradford, Regional Executive Officer REO Region 7 Orwin Ward, Mayor of BARTICA His Worship Gifford Marshall, and President of the BARTICA Football Association Alden Marslow. Earlier in the week, the town's officials expressed delight at being selected at one of the venues for the GFF Super 16 Cup, and more so, bringing back competitive football to the mining community. The sport-hungry community earlier this year hosted their very first cycling event featuring the nation's top cyclists and also was host to this year's Caribbean Junior Cycling Championship. Jaden Samuels, HGP Sport.
Now for cricket. The West Indies will play India in the first of 3 T20s starting this Friday at Hyderabad. Captain Pollard says he will be protecting his charges from vultures and wants to create a nurturing environment for his players. Samuel Gillis tells us more.
As Pollard and the rest of the Caribbean side prepares to defend the World Cup T20 title against India, the skipper, who is well aware of what goes on in the cricketing world, will be keeping an eye out for what he describes as the vultures. Shimron Etimai and Nicholas Puran have been around the setup a little longer than Brandon King and Hayden Walsh. But though they were both part of the West Indies 50 overs World Cup side, they are still easing their way into international cricket. For this reason, Pollard said the team's management is focused on protecting West Indies' bright young talents from whoever may be vultures. It was just last week, in a vulture-like threat, Bangladesh T20 team Chattogram Challengers called for action against West Indies star Chris Gayle if he fails to show up for an upcoming tournament after he said he was taking a break from cricket. Also, Puran was banned under a ball tampering policy after he launched himself towards the end overs and powered the Windies closer to the 250-run mark in the second ODI against Afghanistan, a game and series which West Indies went on to win. Pollard opined, sometimes you need to have that umbrella over them and try and protect them from the vultures they are out to take down their career pretty early. For HGP Sport, I am Samuel Gillis.
Thank you, Samuel. And finally, West Indies catapults in the test rankings as spinner Rakeem Cornwell and batsman Shamar Brooks also made personal jumps in the ICC rankings. Hear more in this story. Spinner Rakeem Cornwell and Shamar Brooks have both stormed up the respective International Cricket Council rankings following outstanding performance in the inaugural one-off test against Afghanistan last week. The 26-year-old Cornwell has been rewarded with his 10-wicket match haul by jumping 63 places in the bowling rankings to number 47, claiming 10 for 121 as West Indies crushed Afghanistan by 9 wickets inside 3 days in Lucknow. The 31-year-old Brooks, meanwhile, rose 68 places to 62nd in the batting rankings, following his excellent 111 in the first innings. His maiden test 100 in his third outing. Cornwell and Brooks led several of their teammates enjoying upward movements in the latest rankings released. Left-hand opener John Campbell moved up 24 spots to 74th, following his maiden test 50, a fluent 75-ball 55 in the first innings, while wicketkeeper Shane Dorridge leaped 9 places to 41st after scoring 42 also in the first innings. Off-spinner Rustin Chase, who claimed 3 wickets in 3 overs in the Afghanistan second innings, have moved up 5 places to 34th. Captain Jason Holder was rewarded for his 5 wickets in the match, jumping 1 spot to a career-best 3rd spot in the bowling rankings behind Australian seamer Pat Cummins and South African speedster Kazori Rambadad, who occupied the top spots. Following the comprehensive 9-wicket win over Afghanistan last week and Pakistan's defeat to Australia on Monday, Holder's team has leapfrogged the Pakistanis on the ICC Test match rankings table. West Indies now are on 81 points, 1 ahead of Pakistan. For HGP Sport, I am Stanford Howard. And that's all we have for this edition of the HGP Sportscast. But do remember, many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it is not fish they're after. Over to you,